Alright, here I am as promised. Heading back to Stonewall. I'm going to demonstrate briefly the Nether encampment we've got. The Nether is another dimension in this game that is... the game, actually, if you turn on the display right here, it'll show you where it says B Forest. That's the biome you're in. For the Nether, it literally says B Hell, because the entire Nether is made of netherrack, these red stones right here, so it's all red. It does not have a sky. It's basically a very large cavern. I've gone in creative mode to see what's above that. Above the Nether is... The overworld has a sky, right here. If you go down deep enough, you hit what's called bedrock, which is basically a block that can't be broken by any means. Except, obviously, for creative mode. That's designed to limit, how deep you can go. In the Nether, you've got a layer of bedrock both below if you go deep enough and above if you go high enough. So the Nether doesn't have a sky. And the Nether also has a lot of... It's very fire and brimstone. It's got lava pools. Actually, instead of my prattling on, let me go through the portal and show you. Nether portal is built by stacking... You can do it with 10 blocks of obsidian. I usually choose to do it with 14. You do a 4x5 arrangement, and then you leave the 2x3 area in here empty. You can dispense with the corners. That's how you can make it with 10 blocks. I usually put the corners there because just, I don't have any shortage of obsidian, although it does take a while to mine it. It's you can only mine it with a diamond pickaxe, and it's 10 seconds per block, so it's very lengthy. Anyway, let's go through. Alright, here we are in the Nether. I have built this outpost around it. When I originally materialized in the Nether, it created this portal. And there was nothing around it, there was just the Nether wilderness. I built this little outpost around it in the subsoil. You'll notice this is surface level. I built this enclosure around it because the Nether has several different creatures in it, but two primary ones. It's got zombie pigmen, which are very annoying. They're like zombies of the overworld, but what they do is they move much faster. They move in groups of, according to the wiki, it says 4 to 10. I usually encounter them in groups of, 4, maybe 5, 6. They also seem to have range. Like, I've backed off while fighting them and still being hit, even though they visually were out of range. They shouldn't have been able to hit me, but they still did. They hit reasonably hard. They hit for a heart and like your total life bar, if you notice where my inventory is 10 hearts. Each of their hits is 1.5 hearts. If you're wearing armor, of course, the damage is mitigated. If you're wearing enchanted armor, the damage is mitigated even more. So you can much more easily survive them if you're in here fully armored. They are immune to fire. Very annoying, because if you knock them into fire, they don't take any damage, but you can if they knock you. They are by default passive, so you would have to attack one to basically to attract their ire. But once you do, all the nearby zombie pigmen will swarm and attack you. If you're lucky, there will be a whole group of them that you can see. If you're not so lucky, you could be standing on one of these ledges overlooking a giant pool of lava, and before you know it, you get flanked by one, and he knocks you into the lava. I haven't been knocked into the lava yet, but I have been surprised by zombie pigmen, because I will kill all the ones I can see, and then another one comes out of nowhere and attacks me on the side, and knocks me off a ledge or something. The other primary enemy is called a ghast. You can't hear them now because the monsters are turned off, but they're these huge floating monsters that have little tentacles at the bottom, and they shoot fireballs everywhere. I mean, if they see you, they will shoot a fireball at you. The unfortunate thing about that is this netherrack is both flammable and volatile, so when the fireball hits, it will blow up anything that, like any netherrack that it hits, and it will light the surrounding netherrack on fire. What's unfortunate about that is that the netherrack is the most common resource here in the nether, so most of the time, unless you're building a permanent settlement like this one, you'll be building out of netherrack. For example, up top is glowstone. It's a very precious resource. It's a stone that can only be found in the nether, and it emits light. It's very useful for lighting up areas when you don't want to put down torches or lighting underwater areas. It's very hard to get to because in some cases you will have these slopes and you can get to it fairly easily. In other cases you usually have to climb and then build your way up to them. Because you're building mostly out of netherrack, it's sort of a death trap, because if you're in a, one space thick walkway and a ghast sees you, you can pretty much be assured that you're gonna die unless you run like hell toward the nearest safe spot. And there aren't a lot of safe spots here in the nether. Um, the best way to survive it, pretty much the only way to survive it, is you have to come fully armored for the zombie pigmen, and you have to bring a bow with lots of ammunition for the ghasts. The ghasts don't have a lot of hit points. Most of the time 2 arrows will kill one, but they're really annoying because they're very large. They're 4 by 4 by 4 squares, but because they're far away, they seem smaller and closer than they really are. So they're much farther away than they look. So most of the time, the aim, like when you aim a bow, you have to account for the gravity based on distance, and because they look closer than they are, usually you will undershoot them. Um, anyway, that is of no importance now that monsters are turned off. Just sort of a, caution. Let's go back downstairs. This outpost, I've named it Outpost Acheron, and then this here takes you to Outpost Gehenna. Both of these are drawn, I'm sure from somewhere before D&D, but I drew them from the D&D cosmology, and these are both lower planes that are hell-like. I've got another spiral rail that takes you up, and Outpost Gehenna has a number of portals that take you to my major project for the last probably month. And it's high up in the air because the major project is also high up in the air. This is... I briefly named this place Aeropolis, but then I decided to just revert to the original name of Sky City. This is a city that I originally built a pillar out of dirt with, some stairs. Oh, and since I've done the demonstration of the Nether, this will actually go for... this will go into a different video, so stand by.